This is part 2 of the Volo Auto Museum in Volo, Illinois. The first exhibit in this next building is a small one on snowmobiles, which weren't actually invented until 1951. This is one of the first snow vehicles, Ford Model T equipped with a snow flyer. This is a recently opened crime and punishment exhibit. It requires 2 extra tokens to get into. This is a replica of the Bonnie and Clyde death car, the bullet-ridden vehicle that the infamous couple was gunned down in during an ambush in 1934. This replica car was at the Long Shuttered Tragedy in U.S. History Museum in St. Augustine, Florida. That is a painted replica of John Dillinger's death mask. Most museum replicas are just the clay cast, so this one is unique because it's painted. This is a replica of the wooden gun that John Dillinger carved and used to escape the Crown Point, Indiana jail. This is a replica of Dillinger's Thompson submachine gun and its case. This 1934 Buick was used in the movie Public Enemies, in which Johnny Depp played John Dillinger. This is an electric chair. It was invented by an Ohio penitentiary inmate named Charles Justice. He was released from prison, then was arrested again for a first-degree murder and became the 38th person to be electrocuted by his own invention in 1911. This is one of the first gas chambers ever made in 1917, so this is terrifying. Most of these torture devices were owned by a traveling showman starting in the late 19th century until he died in 1940. The gibbet was used to string up the executed person's corpse while the flesh was rotting away, or the condemned person would be put in here alive to slowly die in the middle of town. Here is a hand crusher, which, as the sign says, caused tremendous pain. That thing slices the hand, and these are thumb screws. That's the iron boot, which would gradually shatter portions of the leg bones. That's an executioner wax figure. And the scary chair there would be used to force confessions, discourage dissent, and persuade non-Christians to Christianity by force. That's an iron execution axe. That's what the eye crusher device looks like. That's probably the worst thing I've ever seen. There's a Brank mask and some other iron masks. This scenario shows what the Brank would do. And here is the Iron Maiden, a sarcophagus with spikes on the inside, and sometimes it wouldn't immediately kill you. You'd be in there slowly bleeding out for a while. There's the chastity belt and another Brank mask. That's the head crusher. Would have been a gruesome sight. There's the rat cage, a very sadistic piece of human ingenuity, where the rats would slowly eat off your face. Now that's over, back to cars! This showroom has a bunch more movie and specialty cars. This 2004 Holden is from the movie Son of the Mask. That's a pretty interesting car. This is Barbie's 1970 pink Cadillac convertible, and it is from Walt Disney World. It was a parade car, originally painted for 101 Dalmatians at the Magic Kingdom. Then it was used at Epcot for Barbie and also Miss Piggy. On top of this pink Cadillac jukebox is a statue of the king. And this is Elvis Presley's 1974 custom-built Cadillac. Elvis had a custom coach builder convert a 4-door sedan into this Cadillac wagon to use for travel between Graceland and the Memphis airport. This had a lot of room for luggage, and it only has 8,000 miles on it. But the king himself sat right in there. Also, King Kong is right next to it. This place is crazy. This is a custom Charlie Chaplin car. It was built by Jay Orberg as part of his Tributes to the Legends tour. It looks right out of a cartoon and Charlie Chaplin's head is on top. This is the Munster Koach, a 1964 Ford. It was designed by George Barris, and a lot of work went into this thing. This is the Dragula Coffin Dragster from the Munsters, also designed by Barris. In the show, it was built by Grandpa Munster to be entered in a race to win back the Munster Koach, which Herman had lost in a different race. That was a very sweet ride. This is Christine the Killer Car, a 1958 Plymouth Fury. Several versions of the car were made for the 1983 movie. This 1946 car was used in Grease, starring John Travolta and Olivia Newton-John. This car was known as Grease Lightning. This is one of the 1966 Batmobiles from the Adam West TV series. It was customized by George Barris based on Ford's abandoned Futura concept. The piano car here is a tribute to Elton John, also from Jay Orberg's custom Tributes to the Legends cars, and it features a wax figure of Elton John playing the piano. This is the Johnny Cash Guitar, a 28-foot long guitar dragster that does in fact drive. It's also one of Orberg's creations, and it's actually made of steel, not fiberglass. This is the giant Mel's Diner roller skate car. The shoe is 14 feet tall, and this also can drive. This survey buggy was used in the original 1979 Alien movie. The alien character there was built with the actual production molds and hand-painted by Alien special effects artists. This 2008 Seep was used in Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. This one was used in the Jungle Chase sequence. This 1972 Ferrari Daytona Spider is from Miami Vice. This is a Back to the Future DeLorean time machine. Most of the ones in museums are not genuine from the film, but this is a great replica and recently renovated. There's the hoverboard inside the time machine. This is the 1983 Pontiac Trans Am talking car from Knight Rider, driven by David Hasselhoff. A true piece of 80s history right here. There's Mike Wazowski and Sully from Monsters Inc. And Nemo and the Shark. The next building is the Treasures of the Vault. There's some really awesome stuff in here, and I would even say it's more insane than the last building. Sitting outside of The Simpsons, they do have a lot of IPs here. This is a vintage scooter collection. Most of these are from the 50s and 60s, and there's many American and European makes. This is a 1916 Autoped. the world's first production motor scooter. These are some very old motorcycle predecessors, including an 1885 Daimler, which is considered the world's first true motorcycle. This is a 1971 Snow Coupe, which says it was from Riverview Park, an old school amusement park in Chicago, which closed in 1967. This 1979 supersonic snowmobile set a record for getting to 150 miles per hour in 5 seconds. Here are some historic pedal cars. This twin-pulse jet motorcycle set a new speed record. They have a bunch of functioning 1950s arcade games in here. These do predate pinball machines, but they are still mechanical games. And they have some vintage shooting range games. This is a custom Jurassic Park vehicle with a gigantic dinosaur head. There's an animatronic dinosaur riding on the truck. This is amazing. Here are a bunch of antique kiddie rides. Many of them still function and you could ride them. These Looney Tune character figures were built by the Warner Brothers to be used as props for their stores, theaters, and theme parks in the 1980s and 90s. These things were usually destroyed, but these refugees here were saved by Volo to be displayed. This is an absolutely horrific costume that Mike Myers wore in the 2003 Cat in the Hat movie. The producers paid over $50,000 for this costume. It is terrifying to see in person, more terrifying than anything in the Crime and Punishment exhibit. And this is the super luxurious omnidirectional whatchamajigger from the Cat in the Hat. It is the only one built for the movie and costs $1.4 million. It does run and drive and has a top speed of 43 miles per hour. It is packed with special effects and secrets. This is a Flintstone-mobile used for the 1994 live-action Flintstones movie. It was built on a golf cart chassis. This is the Mystery Machine from the 2002 live-action movie that was filmed in Australia. It is a painted 1976 GMC van. This is an interactive map from Disney's Animal Kingdom. I notice it predates Expedition Everest, which opened in 2006, so it's an old school Animal Kingdom relic. It still works, and this is what you had before the app.
Just spin my ear to choose the story that you'd like to hear.
I find the app much easier to use, and this doesn't even give you wait times. Here's another original Disneyland Toy Factory Mold-A-Rama machine from the New York World's Fair. This one does produce Mickey Mouse, but this machine isn't running all too well right now, it's a little messy. This is Michael Jordan's 2005 Bentley GT, bought new by the NBA legend. This is a 1962 Scorpion snowplane. That is a Dave Thomas Wendy's promotional car. This is a 1986 Pulse Autocycle. This is the 1990 Chevrolet Corvette of Brian Wilson of the Beach Boys. That is a beautiful Flying Pegasus neon sign. A 2006 Mercedes-Benz of Britney Spears. This vehicle was called by TMZ the most dangerous car on the streets of LA. This is the 1979 Rolls-Royce Corniche of Zsa Zsa Gabor. The famous actress was famously pulled over in this car in 1989 in Beverly Hills. She was frustrated that she wasn't receiving special treatment and then slapped the police officer, and that landed her in a jail cell. Rod Stewart's 2002 Dodge Viper. This is the Batmobile Tumbler stunt car that was used in Batman Begins, The Dark Knight, and The Dark Knight Rises. Here are some very cool custom cars. This one is being driven by Pappy. This is a German helmet custom car. This is a Ghost Rider bike built as a tribute to the Easy Rider. That's a Ringling Brothers Barnum and Bailey Circus Calliope Circus vehicle. Here's a Spongebob Boat Car with a creepy Spongebob figure. This is the Dizzy Lizzy, possibly the oldest Disney parade vehicle still in existence. It was driven by Goofy in the late 50s and early 60s at Disneyland. That's pretty amazing, and this is some footage of what it was like. This Jeep was custom built for Minnie Mouse for the 100 Years of Disney Magic celebration. It was part of the Mickey's Jammin' Jungle Parade at Disney's Animal Kingdom from 2001 to 2014, and this was Goofy's custom Jeep from the same parade at Animal Kingdom. They have a whole gallery of Disney characters. These were built for Disney stores back in the day, but were removed and were supposed to be destroyed. But again, Volo got a hold of a bunch, so there's a bunch of Disney characters on display here. This is a Cinderella wake wagon. Instead of a giant pumpkin chariot, the fairy godmother gave her a car with a Shelby V8 engine. Much more practical. This is Herbie, the 1963 Volkswagen. There were 35 Herbies made for Herbie Fully Loaded, and a crew of 6 people would operate the switchboard that moved Herbie's eyes, bumper, hood, and other features. This is a 1988 Trunk Cadillac. It was a prototype for the Trump Executive series of limos that was going to be produced by Cadillac. In 1987, Donald Trump and the Cadillac manager partnered over this idea of a Trump-branded limousine. 2 prototypes were built, but the idea was scrapped, and Trump bought both of the cars, one for himself and one for his father. And now this guy is the President of the United States. They also have a wax figure of President Trump wearing a MAGA hat. And right next to Donald Trump's limo is Oprah Winfrey's 1996 Bentley Azur. In 2017, a lot of people wanted Oprah to run against Trump in 2020, so I found this placement humorous. This was the favorite car of Oprah. She saw it on her 42nd birthday in a car lot and wanted it. The owner of the car lot said it wasn't for sale, but she still bought it for a lot of money. This 1996 Rolls-Royce Silver Spur was used as a vehicle of Princess Diana. She spent 3 days in Chicago and Evanston in 1996, and this was the car she was driven around in. Unfortunately, this car was used on her last US trip because 14 months later, she tragically died in a car crash. There's still plenty more here at Volo, so please check out part 3 next, and thanks for watching.